aim to create some kind of awareness about the current practices that go on in various departments and to bring about transparency in the administration. By and large, various measures which we are taking, so they have been very helpful in achieving this target. However, quite a lot needs to be done in this direction. So we have taken a lot of steps, like creating the 14,400 Act, which is really working very well. Earlier years, we used to witness traps around 35 to 45. Today, this year alone, nearly 90 traps have happened because of 14,400. The point I'm driving is all the departments should be very well aware of this app. Public is very, very conscious about their rights. So they are giving a lot of complaints now. Thousands are pouring in. So whatever the ACB can do at their level, so they're able to create and they're able to get some kind of evidence, and then they're going to the traps or they're running disproportionate offense cases. Apart from this, all other complaints are segregated and then being sent to the different departments to look into those complaints where the traps and then disproportionate assets are not possible. This shows how the public is responding, what the public wants. Because corruption is going to hit the vitals of the economy. So therefore, I request all of you to be more vigilant about what the public wants in the present day context. And government has also launched a number of awareness programs through posters, hoardings, pamphlets, just to create awareness in the different departments. And we have two very important departments which are looking into corrupt practices in the administration. One is the ACB. So ACB is putting in a lot of efforts to control corruption by way of enforcement. But certain element of self-control has to come in the departments and the officers working for the government. Then we have another very important department. The head of the department is sitting here, Vishwajit. So I have had the opportunity of working in this department for almost 2 years. I have gone through in detail about the functioning of the various departments. So the moment these officers are inducted, we put them on to training for 2-3 months because they have to understand the functioning of various departments like revenue, irrigation, R&B, the building, the construction departments, mining, transport, police, etc. Because there is a synergy of various departments that come into existence in these, functionings. So until unless you know the practices that happen in the various departments, the officers functioning in vigilance, so they just can't, really get into the group of the problem. Say for example, if you are assessing certain projects, so I just give a small example where the assessment go on like this. So the canal passes through the lower reaches of the hillocks, or it can pass through the upper reaches of the hillock. So what is the cost preparations? Say for example, if they pass through the upper reaches of the hillock, okay, instead of going down. So the cost goes up because in the upper reaches you need to blast the hard rock, and then the cutting the rock becomes a major concern. So there the limitation which they were saying is some 9 to 10 electric poles have to be removed, and then there are certain limitations to the environmental becomes easy. That should have been the maximum coverage, but it's not. Because those who plan, they don't think about all these factors. Now, if you don't go down and then you still persist in the work at the top reaches, the cost has varied from 9 crores to 150 crores. Until unless you understand the engineering, the functioning of the engineering departments and the engineering techniques they follow, why they do it. Then, as a investigating officer, you fail in your duties to assess it properly. That's why you need to get trained in irrigation. You need to get trained in mining. You go to mining and you don't know what is the mining plan. And then the levels in which every year the plan shows from which bench to which mark to which level to which level. Year one, it is being decided in the mining plan. You don't understand that. Then how will you assess what is the last cost of the, what is last cost government? So you should understand what are levels, you should understand what is the mining plan. Until unless you get trained in these practices, then it becomes very difficult for you to assess and then come to an understanding that yes, this is the amount of loss that go on. That's why I insist for over 2 months all these officers to go around, take up the cases which were already assessed. This is present in the area. If you don't understand what is over and what is from which length to which length, which year this assessment has to be done, then how will you make out from the debris? So what kind of material that is dug out of that underground mine? So minutely you should examine, you should understand, you should learn. Otherwise, your tenure in these departments will go in waste. So please concentrate, all these officers. I am just giving you to shortage of time. So I could have given you any number of examples of all the functions of all the departments where you have to concentrate. But due to positive time, I'm just possible. Finding out only 2 departments just to give the insight. So that's how, until unless you get trained like this, you won't be able to have a grip over the functioning of various departments. Then coming to this pending trial case, the last point which I wanted to bring it to notice is pending trial cases. In the law and order front, we have changed the entire pattern. Now no longer it takes 10 years, 15 years to convict a person. You pour accident, then you see, we'll finish it in 4 months' time. That's what is the message which we have sent recently. 4 months, we have investigated, then we have convicted. These offenders were convicted for 20 years. Whereas what's happening here? Number of years it's been rolled by, and then the event result won't be there. Now the fellow will die. After 20 years, suppose the case draws for 20 years. So what's the fun? The person dies, and then the entire effort control corruption makes no sense at all. Therefore, even in the ACB, we have taken out the entire, we have given the program to the officers. We have almost completed till 2020 the regular cases of the track. And other cases also investigations are going on in the various stages. So we have given some 5 cases to each inspector and DSP to get into, and then finish by the time your tenure goes, they should be convicted. You should leave by convicting all these fellows on whom you have registered cases. Then only some impact will be there. Okay, with these remarks I'll close and then hand over back to the Chief Secretary. Thank you.
Of course, cabinet got shifted from 31st to 3rd, so it got little crammed. But anyhow, I think let us first uh, celebrate this week starting from yesterday, 30th, 30th October. We all know that this Vigilance Awareness Week, generally observed, it coincides with the birthday of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So he is the architect, the Iron Man of India. So he is the architect of Indian civil service. So in fact, we should all get draw inspiration from the life of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So in fact, when India became independent, so when they were discussing in the Constitutional Assembly, in the debates when they were discussing that earlier it is not IAS, it was Indian Civil Service, which was introduced by British, whether that should be continued or it's because British has introduced, so we should discontinue. I think it's Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel who said no, it has to be continued. It's going to be steel frame of India administratively. So all the civil servants, which also includes the state level officers, so we should all thank Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Because of him we are continuing here. Otherwise it would have been appointed like ministers, they would have been appointing chief secretaries also. Okay. So, and the theme and other things have been told, so I don't have to mention about that. We are happy that this vigilance manual got revised thanks to the efforts of Madam. I think she was quite passionate about it. So last, I think, the first, this is second edition, ma'am?
This is third edition.
Third edition. The first edition was around 2003, about 20 years back. In between there was a revision, so this is the third edition.
First was even earlier to 2003.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I think all the with evolving of interpretance of constitution and the interpretation of various laws, there are a lot of judgments which have been given by high courts, the Supreme Courts. All those important elements of those judgments and the pronouncements need to be incorporated for understanding of officers who are administering this vigilance guidelines and vigilance instructions. So it's good that we got the updated version, and also the handbook on disciplinary proceedings. In fact, first thing when we join service, so they'll definitely, all probationers would be asked to go through that CC, this CC disciplinary proceeding rules. And despite all of us going through that, we still commit mistakes, that we don't frame charges in time. And then the people retire without reframing the charges. And then the notice is not given. Before you frame the charges, the show cause notice has to be issued. The explanation has to be called. Then after that, the charges are framed. Then the opportunity is given. The written statements are taken. So these procedures are not followed. And for not following the procedures, we are losing a lot of cases in the courts. So that I think we should avoid. So for that, these handbooks will help you to go through that and then see that, because see the fear of punishment should be there. It's not that we want to punish everybody, but the person who commits mistake, again it's a bona fide mistake, mala fide mistake. Bona fide mistake, we should let him go with some kind of a warning or some kind of a advice, saying to be careful. But the mala fide mistake we need to punish. And if the mala fide mistake also goes unpunished, as DG was mentioning, that if you wait for a good 10 years, 15 years, then the fear of the law, the fear of punishment is not there, and the people, more and more people try to commit the mistakes, or try to fraud the system. That's what I think we should avoid. As officers who are responsible concluding the proceedings, the disciplinary authorities, they should be, it's not that, in fact the best thing would be nobody commits mistake. In fact, if you talk philosophically, we don't have to have a vigilance department. There is an eternal vigil in each one of us. That's called our conscience, or consciousness, or conscience. These conscience, if you listen to your conscience, then you don't commit mistake, because that will tell you what is good, what is wrong. It's the mind which tries to do mischief. If you listen to heart, you will not commit mistake. But most of the time the mind is so, they call mind is a monkey. So it keeps jumping. So it has to be controlled. So the wiser's counsel is provided by your conscience or your heart. So if you listen to your vigilance, which is internal within you, I think madam's job becomes less. So this is what is required. So at an individual level, maybe if you can think in these lines. In fact, I was just searching for a quote. So I just, the quality is doing right thing when no one is looking. Quality is doing right thing when no one is looking. I mean, DG was mentioning about the estimates not getting prepared properly and going at a higher contour than the lower contour and resulting in a higher cost. I mean, it's of late the engineers, the new engineers who are getting recruited, they are not even visiting the field. In fact, the estimate preparation itself now we have outsourced thanks to the EPC. So we need to have, see, we need to be professionals. Engineer is a professional job. So you need to go to the spot, inspect that geography or terrain, and then accordingly take the measurements, take the contours, and then you have to prepare the estimate. If you sit in the office and then expect somebody else, I mean, in the EPC, the contracting agency has got a stake to have the inflate the estimate. So we need to exercise that caution, or that our job is to exercise that discretion and see that we do a job. So this is, once we start doing our work in a qualitative way, most of these problems can be avoided. So I wish I had more time to talk about these things, but with constant of time I am just stopping at this. I thank madam and I thank all my colleagues for inviting me and making me part of these celebrations, and I wish all of you go through these whenever it is required that you have to go through in the discharge of duties and pass a very reasoned and a balanced orders. Thank you.
Thank you. Must thank our chief secretary to spare such beautiful time, and we really wanted to listen to you. Yes, finally
Now
that is what.
request our DGP sir to offer a memento to Chief Secretary sir.
Thank you. So I am getting my.
I request the Vigilance Commissioner to offer a memento to DGP sir.
Thank you. You are always there.
Right, ma'am.
Thank
We'll
you
take
so
care.
much. This I'll send it to your office.